Hey guys, today's another advanced deep dive guide series for Gunslinger. It's been quite a while since my beginner's Gunslinger guide. With the recent balance patch as well in Korea, I think it'd be a good time to make a video covering major changes and reviewing more details about the class as more players are experienced now. I was planning to put in time to hunt build as well, but the video contained too much information for it to be too long. I'll make it when significant people are giving feedback of needing it. As always, feedbacks are welcome on these guide series. Before we take a deep dive into the class, we need to cover playstyle again to understand the recent changes. Gunslingers have 3 stances in total. Since both rifle stance and shotgun stance have 4 skills each, she has 16 skills total, which is 2 more than Shadowhunter or Glaviers. Alongside Deadeye, they are the 2 classes with most skills to use. Since Gunslingers have many skills to utilize, her DPS is generally divided equally into various skills, which is different from burst classes like Sharpshooters, where their snipe skill is heavily weighted, or Deathblade, where 3 charge skills and Search. Gunslingers do have some skills that have higher damage than others, so there's definitely a priority in skills, but generally her DPS is done by cycling many different skills. In Lostark, DPS is divided into 3 big categories: back attack, front attack, and hitmaster DPS. Classes like Striker is back attack, Gunlancer as head attack, and Gunslingers categorized as hitmaster or back attack DPS. Reason being was because all shotgun skills are back attack, but with the tripod in a tight spot, she can remove this back attack. Therefore, with the tripod, she is the most perfect hitmaster class. Talking a little about time to hunt build and different skills, time to hunt engraving locks shotguns away. Since lack of skills require her to take bullet rain, this made her not be able to use hitmaster as an engraving, making her impossible to be a hitmaster DPS. Time to hunt Gunslinger needed to back attack in order to be viable. With the recent balance patch in Korea, bullet rain received in a tight spot tripod as well, with the ambush tripod being nerfed as well too. Gunslinger has become a true hitmaster DPS, with in a tight spot tripod being mandatory. Also, bullet rain was not an important skill before, but with this change, the skill has become more significant skill to master. Before the patch, the DPS ranking of all skills were Focus Shot, Sharpshooter, Target Down, Dual Buckshot, Shotgun Rapid Fire, and Perfect Shot. After leveling them all to max, leftover skills were utilized in utilities in handgun stance. After the patch, new things are being tested as of now, with Bullet Rain and Catastrophe being viable. Some DPS skills were lowered from 12 to 11 to take more major skills. For example, Focus Shot, Sharpshooter, and Target Down being level 12, Dual Buckshot being 12 or 11, Bullet Rain, Catastrophe, Perfect Shot at level 11. We're calling this 7M right now, meaning mastering 7 skills. This is being researched as of now on being conceived to be turning into mainstream soon. However, this balance patch hasn't hit global servers yet, and in order to use 7M skill build properly, you will need to require max skill points, which is 420, so it's not super important to look into right now for global players. However, Bullet Rain is a very viable skill right now, so looking into in a tight spot tripod beforehand might be a really good idea to take. The tripod in that spot will be third from row 1, will eventually change, so it will be wise to pre-buy them to pre-prepare for the future change. I believe there are significant Gunslinger users in the global server as well. My guess of their biggest complaints are: 1. Dies often, 2. Hard to DPS, which is true for lower swiftness builds, 3. Can't seem to do a lot of DPS even if I landed on my skills. You may feel this yourself or hear from fellow Gunslinger players. Gunslinger is a class with most freedom in dealing DPS in any content. However, due to this, her vitality point is one of the lowest. Therefore, she floor POVs a lot more than any other classes in raids. You guys hear me say just don't get hit, advices from my streams a lot lately. But in truth, Gunslingers die often being very greedy in DPS by using long animation skills like Focus Shot and Shotgun Rapid Fire at the wrong time. Since Gunslinger's main DPS skills require her to be stationary for a long time, you have to be careful when using them. Let's take Focus Shot for an example. Focus Shot is a third tripod, has Quick Finish and Final Strike. Final Strike has about 3 times more DPS than Quick Finish, but you require yourself to be in animation lock for about 3 seconds. That being said, you have 3 choices. 1. You can utilize Quick Finish tripod to give up the damage for easier animation, which I don't usually recommend. 2nd, master the boss's pattern to a point where you know all the safe spots. 3rd, use Focus Shot only if you have spacebar dodge available. Gunslinger has a lot of maneuver skills like Dexterous Shot and Somersault Shot. If you happen to give mobility tripods as well, it increases their maneuverability by a lot. So it is better to utilize these great mobility skills for positioning and use your spacebar for emergency situations like escaping from animation locks. This spacebar mechanic should be used during Focus Shot, Shotgun Rapid Fire, and Sharpshooter. When you become more experienced in the class, you can actually cancel Sharpshooter by switching stances. Therefore, instead of using your spacebar as gap close like other classes, make sure to use your spacebar in getting away from sticky animation lock situations. Continuing about Gunslinger's complaints, let's talk about the second biggest complaint, which is feeling difficult to DPS properly. You may have experienced bosses dodging away from your skills or getting hit or to be knocked down for a long time. This can be avoided by being less greedy. If I take Focus Shot with Final Strike Tripod, it has the highest DPS, but on a training dummy. If you're fighting a stationary boss, you should rotate your Focus Shot every cooldown. However, bosses move all the time, so you won't be able to do that due to various reasons like bosses teleporting, cutscenes, or even not having enough swiftness or Galewind runes to have faster animations. If you think you can't hit your Focus Shot, just save the skill for another time. But you may think to yourself when I said this, then won't you do 0 DPS for not using the skill at all? Well, Gunslingers have other skill options for DPS, and some of them have lower difficulty of landing them, like Target Down, Perfect Shot, and Dual Buckshot. It is more important to determine how much DPS time is given to you, and allocate your skills accordingly. This is a very simple mechanic to know, but so many people do not realize this yet. So keep this in mind of allocating skills if you feel that you're lacking overall DPS in a fight. If you still feel you do less DPS compared to the other classes, there are some more reasons why. Gunslinger is just born to be a harder class to outperform in DPS to other classes. Class Engraving Peacemaker is a mandatory engraving, but funny enough level 3 and 2 are less efficient overall compared to level 1. And Peacekeeper is only super efficient when boss's total HP is less than 50%. It is smarter to rotate shotgun skills in earlier fights, and rotate rifles at a later time when Disrespect attribute kicks in when boss's HP is under 50%. Also, Gunslinger relies on Keen Blunt, so if you happen to be unlucky with the crits, the DPS is in shambles. Shotguns have passive crit rates, so it's fine, but rifles tend to crit a lot less if you do not have proper synergy skills in place. Make sure to utilize your synergy skill before using your rifle skills. It is better not to use the rifle skills at all if you do not apply proper synergy with your handgun skills. So if I give you an example of rotation of skills, this is before Disrespect attribute kicking in. You start with Spiral Tracker, Quick Step, Sharpshooter, Dual Buckshot, Dexter Shot or equivalent to reset the synergy, Target Down, Spiral Tracker again, Quick Step, Focus Shot, Perfect Shot, and Shotgun Rapid Fire. However, when Disrespect kicks in with boss being under 50% HP, you start with Spiral Tracker, Quick Step, Focus Shot first, Perfect Shot, Sharpshooter, Dual Buckshot, Dexter Shot to reset the synergy again, Target Down, and Shotgun Rapid Fire. There's a little cooldown time after that, and then you start with Spiral Tracker again, Quick Step, Focus Shot, and Perfect Shot again. The basic rotation is followed, and the little cooldown section can be filled up with the new 7M build. You can switch the skill order to your liking at any playstyle, but make sure you utilize the handgun synergy skills before utilizing your rifle skills, like I've explained on my beginner videos. Also, make sure to activate Quick Step's life absorption buff before using your Focus Shot or Sharpshooter for the faster animations. Target Down is very easy to land, but it generally takes longer, so it is smarter to utilize Target Down at a separate rotation at times like when bosses are hard to hit. Right now, global server allows 408 skill points. This 408 skill points is different from the Korean server, which is 420. So I have made some variations for you as if you're playing the global servers. Let's assume you have gotten the level 60 character with all the skill points. These skill points need to be max leveled. Target Down, Focus Shot, and Sharpshooter, and Dual Buckshot. Afterwards, these skills need to be level 4, Spiral Tracker, Quick Step, and Peacekeeper. Then you should level these skills to 11, Shotgun Rapid Fire and Perfect Shot. Reason why Shotgun Rapid Fire and Perfect Shot is at level 11 is because level 10 to 11 has a huge increase in damage, but 11 to 12 isn't as drastic of a change. With this skill set, you have 48 points left. With this 48 skill points, you have these variations you can choose. First one, Last Request or Bullet Rain at level 10. This adds another decent DPS skill into your arsenal. However, your only handgun synergy skill will be Spiral Tracker, so you're discarding all of your utilities for maximum damage. This is the new 7M build but with less skill points. This is extremely hard to manage, but it should have that much more DPS gains compared to the other variation. Somersault Shot 4, Equilibrium 4, Dexter Shot 7, and Last Request 7. This build takes sufficient utility skills and DPS at the same time. This build was the meta and still not that far away of meta right now. You can always add additional variety by moving skill points around or Bullet Rain or Last Request. Try them all out in Trixion and find your variation. Going over to tripods. Gunslinger tripods are very simple and straight to the point, so there aren't that many causes of different opinions. Let's go over the ones that are more discussed. Quick step, slide tripod. If you have the slide tripod, you can fire the second shot really fast, activating life absorption tripod much faster, resulting in landing all of your skills a little faster as well. However, you will need to invest skill points to level 7. Since you lack skill points overall, I don't personally recommend it, but it's not the end of the world if you use it. Somersault shot, agile movement. Somersault shot without the agile movement is about the same as your walk speed. If you want to have additional mobility though, it is recommended to invest into this tripod. Dexterous shot, agile movement and excellent mobility. First, agile movement does not affect the overall speed, so you pick weakness exposure for dexterous shot. If you want to use it as an additional mobility skill though, you need excellent mobility. Dexterous shot is often used to just add crit synergy while you're walking around. You will need to invest into level 7 if you want to use it as a maneuver skill. All shotgun skills in a tight spot. If you do not use in a tight spot tripod, theoretically your DPS does increase a little bit, but you won't be able to use Hitmaster Engraving. If you do not have Hitmaster Engraving and wanted to try a non-meta build, feel free to try different tripods. If not, you must use in a tight spot. Perfect shot, bleed effect versus stable stance. Perfect shot has a long casting time, so it's often recommended to use stable stance for stagger immune. The bleed effect isn't as great as you think either. Focus shot, change of direction, and quick aim. This is one of the most discussed tripod. People with quick aim tripod wish to use the skill a little faster, but it's only affected on the first shot. People with change of direction wish to land their third and fourth shot with better accuracy because that's where the majority of the DPS is. So the choice is definitely preference. I've been a quick aim user, but I'm testing out change of direction as of now. Focus shot, quick finish versus final strike. Final strike is much better in DPS as I said before, but if you really have a hard time landing all your skills, quick finish is an okay choice. Personally, I've been using quick finish on my early Gunslinger days, but ultimately changed to the final strike. Target down, large magazine versus semi-automatic rifle. Same concept as focus shot, one decreases the difficulty. You will only need to land your 4th hit for large magazine, compared to the final strike's 3rd and 4th hits, so it's much less risk. All other tripods are straightforward, damage increases. Let's summarize and go over majority of the tripods. The Spiral Tracker level 4, weakness exposure. Quick step 4, life absorption. Dexterous shot 4, weakness exposure, but excellent mobility for level 7. Peacekeeper 4, excellent mobility. Shotgun rapid fire, in a tight spot, enhanced shot, special bullet. Last request, quick prep, execution for level 7, quick prep, massive explosion, volley for the level 10. Dual buckshot, in a tight spot, enhanced fire, final strike. Sharpshooter, special bullet, in a tight spot, guardian's breath. Perfect shot, stable stance, kill confirmation, enhanced shot. Focus shot, change of direction, double tap, final strike. Target down, quick aim, large magazine, and steady aim. As for runes, you usually use your legendary Galewind rune on a focus shot, you guys will be getting it soon. And heroic purple Galewind runes on sharpshooter and shotgun rapid fire. Rare ones can be used on dual buckshot. You can also use Galewind on target down, but it's usually a preference. Think of focus shot and sharpshooter as mandatory Galewind runes, and preferences for others. Overwhelm can be used on last request to help stagger mechanics. Runes like quick recharge, bleed, rage can be used on spiral tracker and grenade. Some users use Conviction and Judgment rune on Spiral Tracker and Bullet Rain as well, but you need to make sure the Conviction runes on Bullet Rain to not hurt your synergy timings. Conviction Judgment runes are often used on high swiftness builds or players who think they lack mana. Let's talk about the accessory build, starting with the combat stats. Gunslinger's main stat needs to be crit with substat on spec or swift. Spec increases your rifle damage by a lot. Shotgun and handguns are affected as well, but it's not as much as the rifle damage. Swiftness just makes sure your Gunslinger isn't clunky. At full crit, you utilize Necklace at either Swift or Spec. If you happen to take Spirit Absorption or Adrenaline in the engraving, maybe a ring or earring can be shifted towards to other combat stats for better efficiency. Personally, I would aim about 1200 to 1300 crit, without allocating others into Swift and Spec. As for best in slot engravings, it's Grudge, Curse Stall, Hitmaster, Adrenaline, Keen Blunt, and Peacemaker. Peacemaker is a really efficient engraving at level 1, so most Gunslingers take Grudge, Curse Stall, Keen Blunt, Hitmaster, Adrenaline at level 2, and Peacemaker 1 as a meta engraving. I think most important engraving out of the 6 is Peacemaker and Keen Blunt. If you happen to be scared of penalty engravings, Spirit Absorption is a great choice because it's really efficient engraving for Gunslingers. Something like Ether Predator level 1 is good as well. As for gems, make sure to add DPS cooldown for your main shotgun and rifle skills like Focus Shot, Target Down, Sharpshooter, and Dual Buckshot. You can remove one cooldown gem with skills like Perfect Shot, Shotgun Rapid Fire, and Bullet Rain. Cards are very late game, so feel comfortable using Lost Wind Cliff for now, and work on Light of Salvation slowly. Lastly, I want to talk about some small tips. Last Request and Catastrophe has the same stagger points, but most people recommend your Overwhelm rune on Last Request. This is because Last Request is a head attack skill, and head attack skills have additional stagger damage if aimed at the head. Gunslinger's Dexterous Shot and your spacebar is a combo skill. As you may know, Lostark combo skills behave a little different if you press it at a later turn. It's not a huge difference, but it's a good info to know. Target down can be fired at a mouse click, but it can also be fired at the skill hotkey press. If you happen to open up Marine Shot while using target down, I would suggest pressing the skill button instead. As for awakening choices, the Eye of Twilight applies a debuff to the target and does damage while removing the buff. So if you happen to have another Gunslinger in your party, the awakening mechanic does not work if the debuff stacks. Eye of Twilight First Awakening does more damage than the high caliber HE bullet, the second awakening, so you can choose based on preference. With that, this concludes the video. I've taken a much deeper dive about the Gunslinger class compared to the other ones I made. Feel free to check the other Gunslinger videos if you're confused about some points. Since balance patches are planned to happen often in this season, things may change, but fundamentals should be always the same. There will always be more videos in the future if anything happens, but in the meantime, feel free to visit my livestream anytime to ask specific questions. That is where you can get the latest info. As always, thanks again guys, bye!